In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys all the things you need to know before week 6. I'm Ron from Fantasy Flow, and without wasting any time, let's get into this video, man. And the first one starts with Spencer Rattler, bro. This is one of the bigger changes or one of the bigger pieces of news in fantasy football. Spencer Rattler is going to be starting for Derek Carr, who does get injured. They don't know if he's going to be on IR. Looks like it should just be a couple weeks out, but it looks like he's going to be taking over for the Saints. And there was a quote or something interesting that he did say, and it was with regard to Chris Olave. Basically, he said, I make it a key point that when he's in, get him the ball. This is during one of his press conferences where they were asking him some questions, and they brought up Chris Olave. A lot of people are very worried about Chris Olave. I mean, he's been kind of half a cat turd this season. Hasn't really done much for us, but it looks like things could turn around, man. And I think we need to talk about Spencer Rattler in a vacuum. He was a gunslinger, man. He was a very good quarterback in college. Had a lot of hype. A lot of people thought that he should have been drafted way higher just based on his college profile, how it might translate to the NFL. Looks like now he's going to get in his shot, so a lot of us are excited. We do think that maybe things can turn around, man. I know rookie quarterbacks tend to hone in on one guy, and if it's Shaheed, we're totally cucked and totally fucked and forget everything I just said about Chris Olave. But if we're going to follow this hype speak that Rattler said about Olave, I think there could be a nice weeks in store for Chris Olave. They do have a decent opponent on the docket. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have a really good run defense, so that might make him have to throw more. And they don't have the best pass rush, so it's a decent matchup. Next piece of news in the docket is going to be Anthony Richardson, unfortunately, is back. The fun is over. It's Indianapolis at Tennessee. And Anthony Richardson seems to be back at practice on Wednesday. He was limited. Seems like he's going to play. Now, pair that with this other piece of news, which is that Michael Pittman's going to be out for a few weeks. Potentially IR. They did say they might put him on IR. Now, what does this mean for the Colts? What does this mean for Anthony Richardson? A lot of people are worried. We were hoping that Flacco might be back, starting, because it does mean good things for the Colts receivers. Unfortunately not. It's going to be mostly Josh Downs who's going to profit for the most part. If you have him, start him. He's an absolute must start in my opinion. And then it's pretty much a dart throw between Alec Pierce, and Aidon Mitchell. Now, these guys are like fringe flex plays. I mean, Alec Pierce just, popped off with Flacco under center. We did see Alec Pierce pop off before with Anthony Richardson under center. If Anthony Richardson can do one thing right in his, short career, it's throwing deep. So Alec Pierce is a decent start, but with Pittman out, Aidon Mitchell might get a lot more play, and he might be the one that gets on the end of one of those deep passes. So unfortunately, we're not that excited. We're not that stoked like we would be with Joe Flacco, but I do think there is some production to go around. Next piece of information is Philadelphia Eagles assemble, bro. The Avengers are back, dude. Cleveland will be playing at Philadelphia, so it is a home game for the Eagles, and they're getting everybody back, bro. They are coming off a brutal loss to Tampa Bay in week 4. Then they have the bye week to kind of reset, get their dudes healthy. Devonta Smith was pretty much banished to the dream dimension back in week 3. He gets that brutal concussion, doesn't play in week 4. They get the bye week. He's back. Everybody's healthy. AJ Brown had that hamstring injury back in week 1, but he's healthy and he's practicing. So they have everybody, bro. Saquon Barkley has been dominant. He's been kind of like a one-man wrecking ball, a wrecking show, one-man something. I don't know what the phrase is, but he's been dominant. Hurts has kind of been a little bit subpar. I think it's just because they haven't had their weapons. The tush push hasn't really been there, so Hurts has kind of been Hurts, right? Like Hurts minus the tush push. Then this is kind of how he's always looked. He's never really been the best like pure quarterback or pure passer. So take away the tush push, and then there's a little bit concerns for fantasy football. Let's see if they do give him some short yardage attempts where he can maybe get some rushing touchdowns. So because it doesn't seem like they're using him on like option runs as much. They're still doing it for sure, but that's not really where he got a lot of his fantasy value. So next piece of information is that Aidon O'Connell will be starting. The Gardner Minshew experiment is over. We got Pittsburgh at Las Vegas, so it's a home game for Vegas. It is a tough matchup, but it's at least a home game. We got Raiders. Devontae Adams. Essentially, he's been injured. I don't know if it's a real injury. It seems like it's a real injury. He requested a trade. That's kind of a murky situation, right? We don't know what to do with Devontae Adams. I mean, he's probably not going to play this week either, but he did have a conversation with Antonio Pierce at some point, probably yesterday on Wednesday, where It was supposedly a good conversation. He said he does want to play. There's a chance he doesn't get traded. That kind of murks it up a little bit. And then what a coincidence, O'Connell gets announced as the starter. Is this Devonta Adams saying, yo, I'm not going to play if Gardner Minshew's in because Gardner Minshew doesn't throw me the fucking ball? I don't know, bro. The fucking conspiracy tinfoil hat is on. I'm thinking that maybe this could be, I mean, these two pieces of news, maybe they're tied, maybe they're not. I don't know. But moving forward, man, moving forward to the running backs for the Raiders. So Zamir White, he was still sidelined as of Wednesday, and he was losing his job anyway. So it looks like Alexander Madison might still be like a flex play. But as I mentioned, it's a tough matchup, dude. I know Rico Dowdle just did well against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there's a whole different beast, bro. Like this is not the the Dallas Cowboys are a better offense, right? So Rico Dowdle can look good and can look like a decent, player because they do have a better O-line. They have a better team in general. They can move the ball a little better. I think that's why Rico Dowdle produced. I wouldn't count on that for Las Vegas. I do think they have a much worse offense. So with regard to Bowers and Myers, those guys are both playable. I would start both of them. Trey Tucker's only if you're 1 HP. If you're 1 health point, you're 0, you're 0 and 5 or you're 1 and 4. You're down bad. Your nose is bleeding. You're drooling. Put in Trey Tucker. That's the only time I would actually do it though. So next piece of information is Nico Collins, unfortunately, will be on IR. This is going to have some reverberations on the Texans. We got Houston at New England this week. So away game for Houston. It doesn't really matter much because New England used to be a really tough place to play back when, the Tom Brady days, but I don't think anybody's really scared to go play in Foxborough anymore. And this is brutal, bro. Another top 10 player down. Nico Collins, rest in peace, pour one out. He's only going to be out for about 4 weeks at the minimum, right? Like hamstring injuries could linger. It could be brutal. But the big question is who's going to step up now? Is it going to be Tank Dell? Like we've been, he should have stepped up last week and he really didn't. Diggs, I think, is going to be the one who profits the most off of this, but I'll not be surprised if second-year wide receiver Xavier Hutchinson, he's got that dope celebration. I wouldn't be surprised if he steps up. So he played 71% of the snaps, stepped right into that Nico Collins role. Had some decent production, didn't really do much from a production standpoint, but it was his first game kind of getting thrust into that role. I just can't wait, dude. I can't wait to see Xavier Hutchinson outplay Tank Dell yet again. And I want to see fantasy Twitter burn. I want to see blood in the streets. I want to see people raging, dude, pulling their face off. People saying Tank Dell's a bust, sell low, whatever. Just sell him in Dynasty, dude. It's going to be hilarious. But, I mean, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic. I don't think he's going to get outplayed by Hutchinson, but it's just like such a thing that should happen, right? Or that could happen. Like I can just imagine it already. Anyway, next piece of information is Robert Saleh, dude. Robert Saleh gets escorted off the premises. He gets fired and escorted off the premises. Kind of insane. Rumblings are that Aaron Rodgers had a role in it. He says adamantly no, he had no role in it. I don't think he did either. It's just, bro, like he's had no results, dude. Like Robert Saleh has not done enough. He did not win enough games, and this is the year they went all in, and they're 2-3, right? So something had to change. I would have said that they should have fired Nathaniel Hackett and brought in a new OC, but a little bit suspect. They fire Robert Saleh, but keep Hackett. It's like, I don't know, maybe that's where Rodgers pulled some strings that he wanted to keep Hackett, but I don't think much should change from the offense, unfortunately, from like a schematic point of view. But I do think there's like this weird thing that happens that when a new coach comes in or like a coach that maybe players didn't really believe in gets sacked, that first game after that, there's like this weird like Michael Jordan secret stuff being passed around in the locker room. So maybe, dude, maybe they pop off, maybe they have a nice offensive game. I can imagine it happening. Yeah. That pretty much does it, man. That does it for the news. That's not exactly 10 things. I think that was about 6 things that I'm interested in. There's a couple of other, interesting news things like Drake Maye will be starting for New England, but I don't know if that's going to have such a big fantasy football impact. I don't know if that's something that people are now going to be thrusting guys into their starting lineups. It might be a slight bump for like your Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Polk, Demario Douglas, slight bumps, right? But not like huge moves. But we'll consider that the 7th item, I guess, is Drake Maye starting. But anyway, let Let me know what you guys think about this format, man. Let me know if this is an interesting way for you guys to consume some news, get caught up on fantasy football, so you don't have to keep sneaking behind your boss's back and pretending like you were working on your blank Microsoft Excel sheet when they walk by. In any case, man, it's Ron from Fantasy Flow. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.